everybody. Miles Kessler here, and I'm coming to you on our last day, or actually I should say our last morning in Sinai. I've been up for about an hour. It's already 4:30. Beautiful thing here is you go to sleep early, you wake up early, you get to enjoy this. Incredible peacefulness before the world wakes up. Carlos Castaneda used to call it the crack between the worlds, dawn and dusk, sunrise and sunset. And I thought I'd share this with you one more morning, this beautiful, peaceful, incredible place. It's been a very regenerative, restorative holiday. Gonna work holiday, but I took a lot of free time. Anyway, Renata had a question, and I thought since we missed our Q&A last week, I would throw it here on the Facebook Live. And she was she was saying that since we shifted our focus to meditation and the spirit, that she feels like she's fallen back on herself, and that it's like she's on a very long road of practice and all alone. And then she asked the question, is this normal? So yeah, that is actually quite normal for certain, I don't know if I want to say stages of the practice, let's say for certain aspects of the practice, certain moments of the teaching, that, not the teaching, certain moments of your own path where you're removing parts of the self, you're removing, and you get down to a more refined sense of who you are. You're getting down to really the roots of who you are. Again, this could be cyclical. You could go through this many times. It could be the real roots, the final roots, or it could be just kind of somewhere along the process, another layer of the onion, so to speak, that you get to those roots. And you've probably heard it said before, we're all born alone and we're going to die alone. And that's just how it is. We come into existence un solo. We leave existence un solo. And meditation is very much a kind of a death practice in the sense that we're going through ego death again and again and again. Every time you detach and observe from the self, you go into an ego death. And the part of you that feels alone, you're on a long journey that feels alone, is the ego, is the sense of self. It's those little hanging ons, the clinging of self. And it's quite natural and quite normal to have that feeling at certain points in the practice. St. John of the Cross, the Spanish Christian mystic, wrote beautifully about this, and he called it the dark night of the soul. And he would say he felt like in his spiritual practice, God was right there with him, side by side, all the way, until one point he went so deep that even God disappeared. Detach and observe, dissolve, and everything dissolves. At some point you go into a profound dissolution, everything dissolves, and even that sense of your companion, your spiritual companion, dissolves, and it's just you, and you are all alone. But the part of you that feels it's all alone is nothing more than the ego holding on, or the sense of self, holding on standing against dissolution. I don't want to go. And one of the ways that manifests is the profound sense of feeling alone. I shouldn't say feeling alone, of loneliness. Because like right here, you look at me, there's nobody on the beach. I am all alone. Mine, the kids are still asleep. They're asleep right there in that little bungalow. and it's just me. And this morning there's nobody on the beach, and I feel one with look at this beautiful, it's like it's incredible. I don't feel alone at all. Sorry, I do feel alone, and it's beautiful to have these moments of being alone, especially with children. But I don't feel lonely. I could walk back and forth in this beach for eternity, and I don't feel lonely. And when loneliness comes up, it's just a sense of self that's longing, that's desire, that's grasping or clinging, or fear even. Fear, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. These are all perfectly natural reactions of the sense of self. And we could put them in the hindrances. It's in these are the defense mechanisms of the ego. Because if I were to really kind of go with my loneliness, I would go and wake up to why aren't the kids and make sure that I'm with somebody. I would seek out companionship, or I would run back to Tel Aviv where there's thousands of people. I'm never alone. There's people all around me. I'd get online and I'd start chatting with people. All of those things are fine. There's nothing wrong with all those things that I just said. But they take you out of that meditation. They take you out of that state. They take you off the path that you're walking of meditation in spirit. Because remember, our meditation practice leads us from ego. Ego's an easy word to use. The traditional word was self, sense of self. They lead us from sense of self. And the reason I say that is because ego is a good thing as well. So not to give you the wrong impression that ego is bad. We need to get around it. No, that's not the case. They lead us from ego or sense of self. Our meditation practice, our spiritual practice, we will begin to break free of that identity, of that limited identity. You can always regain, re-inhabit who you are. There's no problem. But our spiritual practice helps us to break free of that identity and move more and more towards spirit. I have a little visitor today. Move more and more towards spirit. And in that path, from sense of self to spirit, sense of self is always alone. Spirit is always with everything, one with everything. And somewhere in that trajectory, somewhere when you're traversing that path, the sense of self is kind of giving into the path, giving into meditation in the spirit. But there's a sense like, I'm lonely, I'm all alone, I'm lonely. It's perfectly normal. And that's one of, John of the Cross's Dark Night of the Soul, is when everything disappeared and there was nothing but the sense of self. Even God was gone. And that sense of self felt profoundly alone just before it dissolves and disappears. That's how it is. In a way, you could say, I use this phrase for a few things, but you could say loneliness on the spiritual path is the last stand of the ego. It's the last stand of the self. And don't worry, you will always be able to commune with people. You'll always be able to reconnect with others. You will always be able to kind of go back into yourself, go back into your ego and who you are. But it's perfectly natural. And be patient, because like everything else, it too will disappear. The sense of loneliness will disappear, and it'll give way into an emptiness. And remember, the emptiness that we experience, in a way, loneliness is also kind of an empty feeling, but it's a negativistic empty feeling. The emptiness that we talk about in meditation, as you go through dissolution, the emptiness that we experience in meditation is a complete, absolute 100, 1000% positivistic emptiness, and there is no sense of loneliness. I chatted with Renata yesterday to see if she wanted me to do a Facebook Live on this question, and she said that the feeling is already kind of passing away. So that's a really, which is also very normal. It comes and stays with us for a while, and it passes away. So should any of you in your path kind of experience that, just be with it, be present. Know that you are entering into a very significant aspect of your practice, and it may happen once and never come back again. You may cycle through it from time and time again. But remember, the answer to it is first to accept. Accept it. Be with the loneliness. Then move into the body. Be with the body. Be with the breath. Be with the energy. Be with the heart, the feelings, the emotions. Be with the mind and all the thoughts that are coming up. And you'll see soon enough, just like Renata has already mentioned, that you'll continue to progress and traverse through that stage. And that loneliness will disappear into being alone, in a sense of being one with everything. Okay, so I hope that this Facebook Live was helpful for you. And thank you, Renata, for bringing your question, your awesome questions as usual. And I want to wish you all a wonderful week of practice. I'm going to meditate with the sunrise now. And may your practice continue to lead you forward as you traverse from a sense of self towards spirit in your meditation and spirit phase of the meditation discovery cycle. Goodbye.